Low cross-country flight. Um, so this will be a nice flight to kind of introduce or show a lot of topics. Um, oh wow, this overlaid it. Let's see if I can change this from windowed to not windowed. Okay, there we go. Good. So first things first with this flight, I'm actually going to Sedona. This is lesson 7. Um, I think it's the second of the training. And this is a really good one because it introduces a lot of the intro concepts for beginners. So first thing we're going to do is um, this game, Flight Sim World, does a really good job of you can just instead of using your comms, you can use your top right screen to do a lot of your uh, tuning. It will give you menus saying tune to whatever frequency, but this is how you do it manually. So this one requires you to tune to 123 for Sedona. But right now we're just going to put it so you have two sides, this left side and this right side. This left side tells you the active channel and the right side tells you your standby. So we can input something in there, so we'll do that. And to go to the ones, we're going to go to the outer portion here and change that to 123 and then go to the inner. Let's see, sometimes going to the inner, there we go, can be a little tricky. Great, and now let's go to the outside and go back down to 123. So with this plane, we're going to go and select that the COM 1 is available. You can actually have two, but for this one we're just going to use one. So we're going to keep this here until we're instructed to flip it here to active. Alright, but we're also going to go to our nav, and I'm going to show you a little bit on how the nav or the VORs work. And we're going to change this one here to 114.1. And this is one of your older steam gauge planes. I think this one is your Cherokee. Okay. And let's 114. All right. Yeah, I have trouble sometimes. If you go on the inner knob, that's the hundreds, and sometimes it doesn't work. But there we go. And 0.1. There we go. And 14. There we go. And what we're going to do is click here, because right now that's in standby, so we're just going to click it to active. So as you see, this needle moved over to the right. So this system works. There's a tower that emits radio waves. And the point is to intercept a radial coming out of that tower. It's 360 degrees. So this is saying we're going to intercept the 61 degree radial. So if you go in a circle and you just picture it at 61 degrees, and we're going to intercept that one, and we're going to maintain that heading 61 degrees once we get that radial coming out at 61 degrees. Actually, we're heading 61, so it's going up in northeast, I believe, but it's going to extend all the way down. So it's 61, but we could also set it to 61 plus 180, what? 241, I believe. Sorry if my math is off. And that will, yeah, and that will also give us the same thing, but the to and from will be different, but I'm not going to worry about that. So as it's showing now, we are actually, I believe, to the left of the signal, which is fine. and we're going to go ahead and move our OBS here to 61. So this is our course direction indicator. So let's go ahead and put that over to 61. Alright. Okay, so that's why. So now I'm moving it to 61, and as you can see, things are moving around. There we go. And here we go, we're ready. So we did set our course, and we should be ready to go. So from the 61-degree radial, I think this is saying I'm on the right of the radial. All right, and we're ready to go. Yeah, I haven't got used to the turning in some of these airplanes, but that's something I'll have to get used to. I'm using the sport plane, and the turning radius is a lot different than this. So I'm just trying to get used to how everything turns. And feel free to leave comments if I say something incorrectly, because I just started this hobby and I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying Flight Sim World right now. I wanted to purchase X-Plane because I saw that it was already a finished product and there's some cool mods to it, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Access. This is really good for beginners, and I'm enjoying it. Alright, so we're going to park here. So we're going to be leaving at a heading of 31. Alright. So we're getting wind that's heading 21 degrees, and oh, I'm sorry, I think 21 knots or 21 degrees at 5 knots. Okay. I'm not sure what the wind does right now with flying, but someone feel free to give me a comment and let me know what I need to do to process that information. I think right now it's telling me that it's heading north at 5 knots. So right now I'm going out of runway 3, which means I am actually I'm heading 30 degrees. So if I'm heading 30 degrees, I'm kind of going north, which will enable me to hit that 61-degree radial. So this plane rotates or starts lifting. My flaps are straight. I don't have any flaps down. And around 50 miles an hour or so, it should start rotating. And I should start flying. There we go. So I'm going to climb up to around 3,500 on this one. So I'm trying to maintain 70 miles an hour. That's the climb speed for this airplane. So that is what I'm going to try to maintain, is 70 miles per hour airspeed on the climb. And I'm going to stop climbing once I get around, 6,500. And so it seems that flying at a heading of 30 degrees is going to intercept me to this 61-degree heading, and then I start moving more east. So I think right now I'm to the right of that radial. So I think it's a little bit ahead of me. If you just picture an imaginary line going across my windshield. So let me go ahead. So it's going to take me probably 20-25 minutes to get to Sedona and kind of explain a little bit more things. So I'm at 6,500. I think I'm going to start leveling off. Alright. So, one thing I kind of look at when I'm flying is I like the fact that there's the how level I am with the, I guess it's the horizon indicator. I have no idea what it's called. Can please leave a comment. And I'm going to make sure that I'm level there, and that's when I'm going to start to, once I know level, and then I'm going to look at my vertical speed and make sure I'm at 0 there, where I'm not going up or down, and then I'm going to start to trim. And that's what I normally start doing, and it seems to kind of work for me. But let's see. So I'm going to start turning right once I see that the VOR right now, as you can see, is getting closer. So I'm getting closer and closer to the radial. So I'm going to start turning right until I make a heading around 61 degrees. And there we go. Alright, so I'm going to stay right here. So the thing with the VOR is trying to get this in the center. It's a little, I feel like I get a little difficulties with the steam gauges, but the GPS is a lot easier when you use the Garmin, but I'm just gonna, I like this because it helps me. Alright, I'm at 7,500, so I need to go ahead and keep my, that's one thing I gotta practice on, is keeping my line. Keeping my headings. And I think this is probably where the wind is going to come from, because if the wind is kind of going a little northward, and right now I'm heading east, so this is probably why it's pushing me north a little bit more. Alright, so I need to start flying a little bit more east, because it seems like I'm on the left of the radial, and I need to get it back in the center. So you can see the on the top, right next to the com, I need to get everything back centered. The white solid line needs to be centered to the white dashed line. So I'm trying my best and trying to keep myself stable, which I haven't got myself stable. Okay, I finally got it trimmed. Well, now I trimmed it down too far back. Alright, so there we go. Hold up, am I to the left or to the right? Hold up, I think I'm gonna come back here a little bit. Alright, let's see. Sometimes I have a problem reading it too, but I think since the dark line is on the right, that's showing that I'm to the right of it. So let me go back like I'm going towards. I thought I did that correctly, but let's see. So what is it? 30 to get there, so I think I'm trying to figure out what this, I have so much trouble with the steam gauges sometimes, trying to figure out what my VOR is. It's just more, it's 50-50 and I get confused, but I think I'm to the left of it, so I'm gonna keep trying to go east. Let's see if I'm, yeah. Oh, and I've gotten too high, I believe. So I do these to kind of help me with keeping my headings and keeping my altitude without using autopilot, which I use that a lot in my free flights because it's so much easier. But this helps me as well. So I know where Sedona is. I probably shouldn't be used to using visual aids sometimes, but I am. But I'm gonna keep going a little bit more east because I think, yeah. I have trouble picturing the radial sometimes myself, and it does kind of interfere a little bit because it's I think the more I fly, the better this will get. So right now I know I'm going kind of east-south. And let's see, the VOR line hasn't moved at all. So I'm trying to figure out where I am. I've been so used to the GPS, the Garmin, that I've kind of lost a little bit of the steam gauges. Okay, so you can see it's creeping back. So I am actually taking the right route, the right heading to get to the 61-degree radial. So I'm liking this true sky. It looks really realistic. Like, this is really awesome. And I'm glad that I stuck with it and then go to X-plane. So now let's see if I can go back to 61-degree radial, 60-degree radial, because I'm right at it. So as you see, I'm using my horizon thing to kind of turn left to get onto it. So hopefully I can stay on my radial. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I like the turning of the horizon because I normally turn on, if I turn left or right, I'm making sure that I'm using the line so I can make crisp turns, consistent turns a lot. So I'm glad that this plane has it, and it's really good. So it keeps my turns a lot more consistent. So I'll use that first line, and then I'll go to the next, the middle one. I've never had to use the middle one. That sounds pretty crazy. So it seems like, yeah, I'm right on that VOR, so that was a good move. I feel like I'm heading, so now it's just more just keeping a nice steady flight. My plane is pretty trim. And let's see, yeah, it's pretty trimmed. I'm trying to lose a little bit of altitude, so I'm going to keep it there. Alright, my VOR is kind of losing me a little bit. That's 61. So I think this is where the wind comes into the play, because it's going to push me off to the kind of north. It's going to push me to the north since I'm going more easterly. So that's why it keeps kind of pushing me away. And I know there's a way to do it to where you have to angle yourself a certain way to where it doesn't do that. So So I think in a little bit I'm going to have to make my comm active. So that's why it's a good thing to kind of plan your flight. And I will have a video that will kind of go more in depth of planning your flight, to where you have all these things written down. But if you use the GPS, it's really easy because it puts the flight planner in your GPS for you, where you don't have to put it in. And I think that's something I really like that with Flight Sim World, because I am a beginner and it really helps me with just flying, learning to fly instead of worrying about the other stuff, which eventually I will have to worry about. So I'll start doing that manually, but for now it's just get out there and fly, So right now I got away from the VOR to where I think it's to the right of me. Yes. So I need to head a little bit past to 61. So right now 61 is the heading, and since I'm to the right of that 61 degrees heading, I need to turn a little bit more easterly. Well, it's not the 61 degree heading, it's the radial. So it's, imagine the radial, and it's 61, but I'm going towards the 61 radial, and I think right now I'm behind it, so it's kind of, I'm kind of going to, it has it, the VOR does it automatically for you. So that's why it says bottom, because if you look at the triangle, it's on the it's down, pointing down. Because I'm heading towards the 61 degree radial, but it's also the 240 degree radial as well. But it'd be more like I'm going towards, if I put it on the 240, it'd be fine too, but I think also having it to 60. So I do need to fly right to kind of intercept that radial. So fly more east because I'm to the right of it. There are some videos that actually show that. Once I get a better, I guess, editing software, I can kind of visually show people how that works, but you just imagine like a dot, and it has radial starting from 0 all the way around, and the 61 is going right up from the dot to the 61 degrees, but it's also the 240 degrees as well, so it's the same line, kind of the same radial. So you pretty much determine which one do you want to go to or from to the 61 degrees. Are you going towards it, or are you going away from it, or are you going towards the 240 or going away from it? So here they have it going to 60, because what I'm going to eventually do is head 60. Once I intercept that radial, I have to go 61, I have to go north. I can't hit the 240 and then go 240. I mean, I can and do the math, but I'll just call it the 61 radial. And then once I hit it, then I go 61, and I turn to a heading of 61 degrees. So right now, I'm still to the right of it, but I'm getting closer. And then once I get there, I'm going to make a left and turn towards it. And I'll once it intercepts, it's saying that I'm on it. But I probably, once it gets a little closer, need to start turning a little bit now towards the 61 degree radial. But there's my landing. So this was a tricky landing for me. So I'm going to start going down, or start leveling off my throttle. I'm going to swap. Alright. So on this one, I'm going to try to, because that's my landing, I'm going to try to go down and decelerate as much as I can before I make my turn. Normally I'd use flaps, but this is normally a tricky turn for me. It's really tricky, and I may crash. And if I crash, you guys let me know, like any pointers. But remember, we are looking at 21 heading wind, and right now I'm flying into runway 3. So runway 3, it's heading 21, so I'm getting like a crosswind. Okay, kind of like a crosswind. Alright, so I think I'm coming in too fast, so I am going to do a flap, but I'm going to have to turn it back once I get to speed. Alright, so now I'm going to turn and hopefully get to my heading of 30. And I'm turning crosswind. Oh no, I'm turning downwind. Huh. So I'm going downwind. Oh, that was horrible. So let's see. So I'm going to use my flaps to slow me down. So I normally do 2 flaps to slow me down. I have been practicing trying to slow down with just 1 or less flaps due to this because you might see it, but I'll start going back up, but I'll start lifting once I land for some reason. So I don't know if that has to do with how the plane operates during like crosswind, downwind, or something. But I've never had this, and it's a short runway, and I've never had this before. But we'll see what goes on here. And I'm doing more flaps. I told myself not to do flaps, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I'm gonna go ahead and land. Ah! Alright. I'm gonna go around. Rats. Yeah, it's a really tricky one for me, but it may not let me go around. I think they did an update where I can't go around. Before I could go around as much as I could. Let's see. Alright. So yeah, normally with the landing for me is, this one is a little tricky. Yeah. I'm having so much trouble with this one, but please leave a comment. Let me know what's going on. I just have I thought I was landing fine, then all of a sudden I got a last minute lift. But I'm also thinking this is going to be one of those slow where I really have to come in slow and not have any flaps on because I feel like having fully extending my flaps is what's causing me trouble. But keep trying. But yeah, hopefully this introduces anybody who's new into flying, and if you've flown before, please leave comments and give me pointers on anything that I've missed or didn't do well on. Thank you, and I appreciate it.